Hello guys and welcome back to yet another video. Today we're going to talk about how I managed to get my drone back. A couple of weeks, no, it was about a week or two ago, I actually lost my drone and somehow I actually got it back. So the story behind it's definitely a bit crazy. This is the Parrot Orak Hydrofoil drone. So basically what that means is it can also become a boat. Yeah, I know, that's pretty cool, and I actually picked it up for $49. Yeah, $49. It's got a little camera on it, and it comes with a little boat hull, and yeah, from JB Hi-Fi, and I actually think they still have some left. I'm guessing they discontinued them. They were originally $149, which I'd say is too much. And of course, these are very small and very light. Yeah, my brother got one as well. He had a similar problem where he nearly lost his, but then it crashed into a tree and lost a propeller. It still works, and miraculously, the one I've got here still works as well. Okay, so where do we begin? I was going for a normal flight with the drone, as I do down the park. I don't think I actually captured any footage. I was about to make a review of this. I wish I was filming when this happened. This thing can go pretty fast, so I think it can hit around 40 to 50 kilometers an hour going forwards. And you can change its maximum speed, which is, I think, determined by the angle. So you can go an angle of inclination of about 25 degrees, which is really fast. And you do not want to crash it at that speed. But of course, I think it uses GPS or something, so it can stay stable and in the same position quite well. The bottom camera can take 640 by 480 resolution still images, which are okay. And the drone itself is controlled via your smartphone, and you can, after a flight, download the images, and they are okay. And it's interesting just seeing from above what things look like. You could lie down in the grass and have the thing look down on you. Definitely not a spy drone. It does not take video. And now we're going to get onto what went wrong. So, this was a problem that was not caused by myself. So it was flying along normally. I did a few takes back and forth along this open park that we have near our house, and what happened is all of a sudden it was right in front of me, and then it just started going up. Nothing was attached to it. There's just the drone as it is with there's no battery in it at the moment. It just started going up, and we couldn't figure out why. The maximum height was set to 10 meters, and this thing just kept going. By the time we lost track of it, it was like 60% battery apparently, and the batteries last about 7 minutes on these from full, and this thing just kept going up until we literally couldn't see it. It got so high that we couldn't see it anymore. So we looked around for ages afterwards, knowing that given the amount of battery it had, it couldn't get very far. Boy, were we wrong in hindsight. So we looked around for ages. I posted about it on Gumtree, seeing if anyone had found it, and the funny thing was, someone actually did find it. They gave me a text 2 days later after it had rained and there had been some storms in Adelaide. They actually gave me a text saying they'd found a Parrot drone. And the funny thing is they didn't find out about this through any of the ads I posted. They'd actually found out about it because I had written my name and phone number on each one of the blades. I'm not going to show you that because I don't really want people calling me unless I know them. So, yeah, we got it back, surprisingly. But what's even more surprising was just how far the thing had gone. I thought maybe this thing could have gotten a couple hundred meters away. Nope, like 5 kilometers away. This thing had traveled across suburbs. Like, it's crazy, and I have all the flight data afterwards. It had still had the flight data and some of the photos on it as well. So before we completely lost connection with it, it actually took some photos, and it was up really high. I'll put some of those on the screen. Now, I would have loved it if it had taken photos along its journey. It only does that if you tell it to take a photo when you have control of it. So it had completely lost signal from my smartphone at that point. But it had gone across a few suburbs, and they just found it near some trees, like basically right out the front of their house. I don't know how it did that. Like, how on earth it would have gotten that high? Like, that's genuinely pretty crazy. And apparently it got up to about 200 meters, which is, what's that, like 600 to 700 feet in the air? And that's just because it it didn't lose control. It was completely stable the whole time. It just wouldn't respond from the app. So Parrot, you might want to fix that, because if someone's near an airport or whatever, this thing could lose control. It'd just keep going up, get sucked into a jet engine and cause a fatal accident. Like, that's a serious problem that's got to be addressed. So yes, thankfully I drove down there and they let me have it, which was cool. They said one of the propellers was bent, but they bent it back out, and this still flies. Like, I've flown it since, and it still works. And miraculously, when I picked it up, it still had some battery left. Like, it had like 2% or whatever. And immediately when I turned it on, it didn't show the last flight or any of the photos. After I charged it, I could see there were like 3 photos from the last flight and all the flight data, which it made sense. Like, I'm gonna have to get the data up on my phone actually, one sec. So yeah, looking at the data, basically the battery just slowly went down. What are we looking at? The altitude is in blue. So basically it started off pretty low. It went into the negatives, which is definitely sort of weird. But apparently, yeah, it just kept going up, and I guess it got so high that it just went into the negatives, but it got over 200 meters apparently. And as far as speed, I'm guessing it must have got picked up by the wind, because if we look at this, you got these really fast, like these really fast points, and apparently it gets up to like 12 meters a second, which I think that actually equates to like 30 kilometers an hour, not 40. It looks like it. It just it flies, this thing. So we've got a few large spikes there, which basically indicate that I was zooming it along the park. And then after that, basically nothing, because it just went up, which means it's not traveling faster. It's not traveling, because it only really speed to this thing basically means moving forwards. So it must have just went up, got picked up by the wind, shot across a few kilometers, and then either, I don't know if it crashed. I'm guessing it probably just ran out of battery and just turned off. So yeah, so that's it. Basically, if you're thinking of picking one of these up, be prepared for it to basically be lost and it not be your fault. So yeah, apparently this thing can fly many kilometers on one charge, which is pretty crazy, as it's a 550 milliamp hour battery. And yeah, I'm glad I got it back. It still works, but if you're going to buy one of these, they are cheap at the moment, which is pretty cool. So you get the actual hull, which is like a boat hull. You get the actual thing itself. No spare blades, however, because once we lost one blade, we had to buy some more, which are still arriving from eBay. Yeah, so hopefully they arrive eventually. And yeah, that's about all I've got to say today. That's just a little bit of a story about how I managed to get my drone back. And yeah, hopefully they fix this with software updates in the future, as I really wouldn't want this happening again. It was devastating. It wasn't like a big loss financially. It's just like, it's gone. Like, if I'd crashed it and it had broken, at least I could have felt justified in the way that it was my fault, but this wasn't my fault at all. It was just there hovering in front of me and it just started going. Nothing would respond. Yeah. So, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.